it's the Iowa Prairie girl. I'm excited to be out here in the prairie again. Yep, prairies have that effect on me. They are a beautiful ecosystem to come visit. So get out there and see those prairies. Today we're going to take a look at goldenrod, and I hope that you can see the goldenrod that's behind me. We're going to look at stiff goldenrod today, and I have a lot of that out in my prairie. It's been blooming for about a month now. It is mid-September. I'm just lucky to still be able to get some blooms here. They're starting to turn brown. So we're going to take a look at stiff goldenrod. And yeah, I'm taking the easy route again. Stiff goldenrod is probably one of the most easiest goldenrods to identify. There are over 100 species of goldenrod in the world. 70 of those, or around 70 of those, are native to the United States. And many of them are very hard to identify. So we're going to take a look at stiff goldenrod. And my thought process is, if you learn how to identify the easier plants, then you move on to the harder plants. So that's why we're going to start with stiff goldenrod. If you have a Peterson Field Guide to Wildflowers, and if you look at page 190, I feel like I'm saying turn in your Bible to such and such a page. But if you look in on page 190, it talks about goldenrods and how there are different ways to learn how to identify them. There are 5 different types of goldenrod. There are the plume-like, or the graceful, the elm-branched, the club-like, which is also showy, the wander-like, or slender, and the flat-top. And so there's different ways to start to learn to identify goldenrod. And so you want to start looking at, when you look at a goldenrod, figure out which type of goldenrod you're looking at. And so we're going to look at stiff goldenrod, which is in the flat type. A couple more things about goldenrod. They are in the aster family. And if you looked at my video from a week ago, we talked about DYCs, dam yellow composites, and goldenrod fall into that category as well. They're a DYC, so that means there's lots of them. They're all yellow, and they're really hard to figure out. And a composite is, again, that flower that has more than one type of flower on it, and that's the same with goldenrods. They have all kinds of 2 different types of flowers on them. Now, one thing I want to say about goldenrod is that they do not cause allergies. There is a misnomer that this time of year, when a lot of people's allergies come up, that it's the goldenrod that's blooming, and that's the reason why everyone's allergies are acting up. Goldenrod does not cause allergies. Goldenrod pollen is actually very heavy and very, what's the word I'm looking for? I think it basically is heavy, and it does not get blown around in the wind. But it does bloom at the same time that ragweed blooms. And so it's the ragweed pollen that is in the air causing all the allergies, and goldenrod gets the blame for it. So do remember that it's not goldenrod that causes allergies, it is the ragweed. So we're going to get up close and personal to some stiff goldenrod, so I hope you continue to watch and learn about stiff goldenrod. Okay, so I am in my prairie. I am sitting down next to this stiff goldenrod. Stiff goldenrod usually grows between 2 to 5 feet tall. And I have different places where I have goldenrod in my prairie. Out here out in full sun, for some reason, this goldenrod seems to be shorter. I don't know if it's just newer. I do have some goldenrod that's much taller. So I am sitting down next to my goldenrod. So this goldenrod's, about 2 feet tall. So let's first take a look at the flowers. So as I mentioned, there's different types of flowers, how they present on the plant, and this is a flat top, and you can see, definitely you can see that you can see why it's called that. It's a flat top. So goldenrod also, they come in these clusters of little flowers. Goldenrod flowers on the stiff goldenrod are larger than any other goldenrod flowers. So that's something that you can remember when you want to identify them, that these flower clusters actually are larger than what you would find on other goldenrod. So you have the stem here is hairy. It's the only goldenrod that has a hairy stem. It's erect, meaning it comes up, and then it doesn't branch until the very top, where it starts to branch into these flower heads. So it's very straight until the top where it starts to branch. And then you have these terminal flowers. Again, the terminal flower is the flowers at the end of the stalks. And so you have these clusters of flowers. They're about a ½ inch wide, and then they have between 7 to 14 ray flowers that make up that cluster. So you can see the flowers here, and I'm sitting here, I got all kinds, I can pull them all in. I have this whole bouquet of stiff goldenrod next to me. Now stiff goldenrod have a very deep root, and that allows them to continue to grow in tall grass prairies. They don't get grown out by the prairie grasses, but they also can grow in dry areas. They'll grow in disturbed pastures where there was an old prairie before and now it's disturbed. So that deep root allows them to continue to grow even though that area has been disturbed. They will grow in fertile soil as well, though they do seem to like drier and gravelly places. They will grow in a fertile area or a place that has a lot of moisture, but that tends to, they tend to lop over or fall over when they're in a more fertile area. I want to talk about the leaf now. So the leaf is where we get the name stiff goldenrod. So there's several different names that you can call this. There's stiff goldenrod, rigid goldenrod, hard-leaf goldenrod, and stiff-leaf goldenrod, which all refer to the leaf. So you can see that the leaf here, it is kind of stiff. You can kind of move it around. It's just stiff here. So there are two different types of leaf on the goldenrod. There is the leaf that comes up the stem, and it alternates up the stem, and it's a clasping. And I think I've said this before. Clasping leaves are just my favorite. I think they're just cute. So you can see how it just hangs onto the stem there. So that's a clasping leaf. And then there are the basal leaves, and I picked one here. You can see that the basal leaf is much larger than the leaves that come up the stem. So the basal leaf means it grows at the base, and it's about 8 inches long. And then the leaves here that come up the stem, they're about 2 inches long, and they get shorter as they come up the stem. Now, if you're learning about goldenrod, there are two different types of veins on the leaves that you want to study. So goldenrods have two different types of veined leaves. So there's the feather veined leaf. So that means the vein on the actual leaf looks like that of a feather. It alternates on the middle stem, or the middle vein that comes through the middle of the leaf, and they alternate, and it looks kind of like a bird's feather. And then there's parallel veined, meaning that all the veins on the leaf go up and down together in the same direction. So when you're learning about goldenrods, remember that you want to look at the leaf and you want to see how it's veined. Is it feather veined, or is it parallel veined? And then if you look in your Peterson, when you're trying to identify them, it will tell you what kind of a veined leaf that you're looking for. Now, I don't know if I remember if I mentioned, now that I have my Peterson out, so goldenrods, I said there was 100 of them, and the Peterson mentions about 30 different types of goldenrod. And if you go on your Iowa wildflower app, that mentions about 13 different types of goldenrod in Iowa. So like I said, there's 100 of them, but you're going to have to, there's a lot to identify, so you're going to have to use different field guides or different internet searches to figure them all out if that's your mission. That's a big mission if you're going to take that on. Okay, so what else about the leaves? As I mentioned, they alternate, they're clasping, they're kind of rubbery feeling, they're a little bit roughed, and then again, the ones on the bottom are larger than the ones that come alternating up. And this is, again, the reason why it's called the stiff goldenrod is because of these leaves. I'd like to leave you with some fun information about goldenrods in general. The Latin word is solidago, and that means to make whole. So you can make a tea from goldenrods, and that has an anti-inflammatory or a congestion relieving effect to it. You can also make a tincture or a concoction from goldenrod and use that to wash wounds, and that will prevent infections. And then also they say that if you chew the leaves of a goldenrod, it relieves a sore throat or relieves a toothache. And I was, just before I made this video, I took a leaf here and was chewing on it, and it's got rather a medicine-like taste to it. I don't have a sore tooth, so I can't tell if it worked or not. Animals, finches and sparrows like to eat the seeds of goldenrods. Deer and rabbits will eat goldenrods, so it's it's beneficial to the wildlife in your prairie if you plant it. Has a lot of nectar, so the bees and the bugs and the butterflies enjoy it. There's in front of me right now, I have several bugs on the goldenrod that I'm sitting next to right now. So some other fun facts about goldenrod. Dowsing. Do you remember what dowsing is? Dowsing is where you take a stick, a straight stick, and you wave it around the ground, and it will start to shake, and it will show you where you should dig for your well. Well, apparently you can dowse with goldenrod, stiff goldenrod, and if you dowse with stiff goldenrod, it will help you find hidden treasures or missing objects, and then also apparently will help you find your true love. If you're dowsing, you might come across the path of your true love. Or if you wear or carry goldenrod with you, the next day you are sure to cross paths with your true love. Also, if goldenrod happens to just pop up around your home, it is a sign that good luck or fortune is coming your way. So a lot of good things about goldenrod. I really didn't find anything bad about goldenrod, and other than I told you earlier not to believe that misnomer that goldenrod causes allergies. All right, so that's what I know about goldenrod. As you can see, it is evening now. I started my video in the morning, and now it's evening. What a good day. Be able to start the morning out on the prairie and then to close down the prairie in the evening. So this is the Iowa Prairie Girl encouraging you to get out, explore those wild places. Today I had the opportunity not only to be in the prairie, but also to go to an old quarry where there's a fen, and found some really neat flowers that grow in a wet area. And then I also got the opportunity to go into a forest and look for some woodland flowers. And that was all in just a 10-mile radius of my home. So there are places out there. If you get out and explore them, you're going to find them. So please like my video, share it, help my YouTube channel grow. Stay tuned next week. I think we're going to look at asters. I said we were going to look at asters, and we actually did. This is in the aster family, but I'm thinking about looking up common blue aster, which is a woodland flower, and hope that you'll like that video as well. So this is the Iowa Prairie Girl. Good night from the prairie. Hope you see the wonderful.